What's going on, everybody? It has been a long time since I've done a style of video like this because, quite frankly, I don't do a lot of vlogs, but I had a few minutes and there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about, so we're just going to do it this way and just wing it. And I'm really sweaty. It is hot outside. The air conditioning's on, but it doesn't help too much at this point in time. But anyway, there's a couple of things I've been kind of wanting to talk about because some things that have changed with my setup, and I wanted to get into them a little bit. So we're just gonna go ahead and flip the camera around, and I'm going to show you what's different. And I'm going to tell you to ignore the mess on my desk. My desk area is a travesty right now, but it'll get cleaned up again pretty soon. Just trust me on that. So the first thing I'm going to point out is this guy right here. You see I've got 3 monitors, and this guy right here, the Dell S2716DG. This is a 27-inch monitor. This does come with G-Sync. It's a TN panel, so obviously the viewing angles aren't going to be the greatest, but it's good enough for what I needed to do, and that was to get me into 1440p gaming at a pretty reasonable price. You can find a lot of these on eBay for around $350 to $450 most of the time used. You occasionally can find a new deal for $350 to $400, but most of the time you're just going to find a bunch of used ones, and that's fine. This one is in pretty decent shape. There's a few scuffs on the bezel, and I've actually noticed, and you really have to look at it, and I don't think I'm going to be able to show it on camera here, but right about here there's a slight discoloration on the side of the monitor. You only can see it when you're actually looking for it, so it's not that big of a deal to me, but it's an example of the issues with quality control that these panels have. I really enjoy the experience of 1440p. I'm not sold on G-Sync as a technology because I just don't seem to find it that beneficial, that useful. In fact, I don't know that it's that much better than anything else out there. Like FreeSync is this monitor right here. This AOC is a FreeSync monitor. I was using that for 1080p at 144 hertz, and I've not noticed that G-Sync has made any discernible difference. In fact, I've noticed that when G-Sync is enabled, there's some flickering at times, and it seems to cause some stuttering issues on my other displays. So I don't know, maybe I'm just not doing something right with G-Sync, but it doesn't seem to be something that's worth the premium that you're paying for some of these panels that come with it. So if you have a pretty decent graphics card, like I have a GTX 1070 inside of this build, you don't need to get G-Sync. You can get just a standard you can get a FreeSync, you can get any kind of high refresh rate monitor, and you're going to have a pretty good experience. My ultimate goal, though, is to replace that one over there. That's my BenQ with a 4K panel, and that one would be IPS, and that would be my primary editing machine. Now, the other thing, or primary editing screen, I should say. The other thing I've done, and if you look here, you'll see there's a vented top panel. And this one's going to be a little harder to see because of the poor lighting in here, so let's switch. You can kind of see it. I'm going to temporarily turn the ISO up so that you can see it. So there's a temporary, it's going to be a little grainy, I'm sorry, but it's the only way to see it. And and that's a vented front panel. Now, these panels are provided by ModMyMods, and as you can see, I've got decorations on top. This is courtesy of my child. I really am impressed with these panels. They really add some nice looks to the case, but more importantly, I'm going to just go show this on the camera. Those idle temperatures are a good 3 to 5 degrees cooler than what I was getting with, apparently I hit my child's toy. But these are the original panels, and this has been a downside to the AOC, or not the AOC. The downside to the Phanteks Enthoo Evolv cases is the restricted airflow. Now, obviously this does a much better job of providing good airflow, and that is going to be important down the road, because if I put a custom loop in here, I do want to use a radiator up top, and I do want to use a radiator in the front. And these panels are going to allow the system to not be choked off of air. So that's something that's kind of important. So that's kind of basically the end of all of this. That's all I really wanted to kind of talk about. I know I haven't done a lot of videos in the last few months. I've only done a couple of the Phanteks things. I am going to be doing another Phanteks Halos, not Halos, but a Phanteks RGB video as soon as I order the product in. Now Phanteks, if you don't know, has a new digital line of RGB. They're addressable RGB, and it comes with a starter kit that includes a controller, a hub, some LED strips, and all the connections that you need. And it's designed to work with newer motherboards that have addressable headers on there, and which I don't have. So this is going to be a really good chance to test out the controller that Phanteks is now selling. I've also seen that Asus is selling an RGB controller, so I'm really interested in all this stuff, because for people who like to have some control over their case lighting, the Phanteks solution was a nice one, but ultimately a little bit flawed because you couldn't use it unless you had a header or an RGB header or a Phanteks case that had the RGB connections inside of it. So this is kind of a chance for people who wanted to get a Phanteks RGB product but didn't have the appropriate connections to actually be able to do it. So I'm going to try and get that starter kit in and take a look at it and see how it performs. In the meantime, though, I think that's going to do it for today. Just wanted to kind of give you a quick little update on where I've been, where things are going. Not really much in the pipeline right now. I am doing a lot of gaming videos again, so if you want to check out my gaming channel, you can go ahead and see some of the Fortnite Save the World stuff that I've been doing. That's been occupying a lot of my time. In the meantime, though, there's probably not going to be a whole lot. I'm still trying to decide what kind of products I want to look at, how I want to get them in, and what I'm going to do with them when I'm done with them. But I did want to show you some of the stuff that I did. Again, those panels, they were from ModMyMods. You can check them out. I'll have a link in the description below. It's a pretty steep premium to pay for those. So if you've already paid $200 for this case, you may not be interested in that. But if you are going to be using this case long term and you want to get into water cooling or something, or you just want to improve the airflow a little bit, they are pretty helpful. They're pretty pricey, but they're pretty helpful. I may do a standalone video on them in the future, but for now, that's pretty much what you're going to see of them. And again, the Dell monitor that I've picked up, pretty decent bargain for about $350 to $400 if you can nab it. Again, still not sold on G-Sync, still playing around with it a little bit. I think the moral of the story there is if you could just get a high refresh rate monitor, it doesn't matter if it's G-Sync or FreeSync, you're going to have a pretty good time with it. So that's going to do it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know how to show me your appreciation. And stay tuned for more. I will catch you guys, though, in the next one as soon as I actually get around to making another video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.